Ignacio Talavera, founder of Bondex. You're the man that I want to speak to because you're the kind of business model that is revolutionizing Web3 and monetizing information as a business. That's how I read what you do. So if you could just start by giving me a quick description of your business.
To summarize it in a simple vision, we're building the most trusted professional network in the world using blockchain technology as a trust layer. And what I mean by that is we want a mix of on-chain and off-chain data in using blockchain to verify credentials and create a more trusted professional identities and reputation scores. I believe that we're using obsolete infrastructure in the labor market. That's why there's so many middlemen extracting too much value. And the way of it's 2025, we're still using PDF resumes is ludicrous. And that's where this new type of information and data comes in.
So everybody, here is a HR platform. You can call it human resource, you can call it job marketplace, competing somewhat with the LinkedIns of the world, and then at the same time redefining how people find jobs, how HR professionals look for candidates, all of that. And what I've seen, the way in which Ignacio has built his business, you have a core income stream already, which is the HR in the Web3 world. That in itself is a business that was waiting to happen because there's so much activity on that front. And then on top of that, you build a technology and you even tokenized it. So that's amazing. And you did that with a funding base of $10 million, something like that?
Correct. Since we started the company in 2021, we've raised about $10 million to date. But you're exactly right. We've always been anchored in fundamentals, meaning a sustainable business model, and starting at the application layer instead of infrastructure or going for the ecosystem or protocol building. At the end of the day, we are building a network, but we're starting with an application layer that is very simple, getting people jobs, and then getting the companies the highest quality talent that we can find. That's a simple business model. You add tokens to it, and then you're aligning incentives, because that's the killer use case of blockchain and crypto. One of the best ones, coordination and alignment of incentives.
So the job market and the HR business, that's a entry level. And then you plugged in the technology element. But to create the transaction volume, the number of people interested in using your platform, how did you do that?
I would give the biggest award on that to gamification and then incentivization. And we did this with a mix of point system and also tokenization. And this was in part because the Apple terms and conditions dictate that you cannot have a tokenized platform completely. Unless you're a wallet or an exchange or an app. You could argue that they did this due to the take rate, etc., defending their monopoly, their position, which is fine. So we devised a point system, much like a video game currency. And that is what incentivized a really powerful viral loop and network effects. And that's how we launched and bootstrapped the users of the network. We built the supply, and then with that supply of talent database, we then brought the next side of the marketplace, which was the demand for talent and companies.
And all of the human resource in the Web3 world, the blockchain, young people, all of that were a ready market that wasn't already being handled by the LinkedIns and the other platforms of the world.
I think that there was a mismatch in many things, but the younger generation, the blockchain generation, was not being catered by the LinkedIn or the traditional channels of the world. And instead, people started using Twitter or Telegram to find jobs. And those platforms have amazing engagement, but they're not built for talent exchange. They're not built for candidates. And ultimately, what we're recreating is existing behaviors. At the end of the day, most people get hired when someone else recommends them. That's why we started with a bounty job marketplace, and again, our trusted, verified credentials. It's all about creating, trust and a signal through all the noise that we're dealing with in all of the platforms that we use. That is really the big struggle that we have, and why we are not being catered to by the traditional platforms when it comes to Web3 talent.
Okay, and then have you extended beyond Web3 talent? Do you see?
Not yet. It is already a big enough challenge. I think focus. But once we've cornered the market, which is our plan for the next 12 to 18 months, we will be diving, or expanding beyond Web3 into Web2 as well. At the end of the day, our technology can be used for any industry.
Yes.
But it is the perfect sandbox to perfect it with using Web3 technology and AI in the Web3 industry with companies that are willing to try this technology and, more, let's say, willing to take that risk.
And the revenue feed for you?
It's very simple. Companies posting jobs, and we are experimenting with some ads, but not yet. We want to reach better critical mass. And we also want to do it in a sustainable and more moral way, right? One of the things that I think that Web3 promises is the restructuring of the economic model of the internet, which is right now the centralized platforms monetize our data. You think you're getting a free product, but you're the product, is the famous line. What I want to do is, professional data is extremely valuable. It's got your interests, and then you have verified on-chain data and credentials, proof of skill, proof of work. So it should be monetizable. I think it's or subscription-based, but then the user should permission you and have a choice on how and if their data gets monetized, and can then get a revenue share from that economic model.
But the tokenization part, do you need to find that you need to invest in it? You're burning money there?
We're definitely burning money there. Our approach, again, was building an app and a business model that works, getting it to critical mass, and then tokenizing, and then implementing the blockchain.
So do you have anchor companies that use you, like big names in the Web3 world?
Yeah, absolutely. A16Z has used our platform, OKX, Base, Binance, you name it. And that's not just because of the Bondex platform, but we've also acquired the largest job board in the space, Web3 Careers. We acquired them last year. We're ex-TradFi M&A guys, both me and my co-founder, and we see an incredible opportunity in M&A, doing a roll-up of a lot of the, let's say, funnels of talent and demand for talent, and then funneling it all through our platform and our infrastructure to increase the adoption of our technology.
Would a LinkedIn look at you as a potential competitor, given that they're taking the Web2 route and then they're walking the route rather than flying it?
I think that the Web3 market that we're going after right now is way too small for them to completely care. However, how we win and how I see this vision is to be a protocol network, and for the Bondex reputation score, again, using this on-chain verifications to hopefully one day be used by LinkedIn.
Oh my goodness, you are part Glassdoor as well.
Correct. That is the plan. I mean, that would be the beautiful thing, that instead of siloed ratings and rankings that you can have in your professional life, which is becoming increasingly fractional, right? Upwork, Fiverr, LinkedIn, your performance and your career is kind of scattered all over the place and siloed in these different platforms. But the Bondex Reputation Network aggregates and bridges all of your performance across these platforms and gives you a reputation score. And my dream and my vision is for this reputation score to be the source of truth and trust for the digital labor market.
You've got it all stitched up. Now, the reason I was very interested in you is because you are a working model of monetizing information in the Web3 world. Give us a sense of where you think, how you think that universe is evolving and maturing.
It is still a bit early. The infrastructure for monetization with advertising is not quite there yet. I think there's two reasons for that. One is we've seen most of the infrastructure advance to a level where consumer apps can finally be really easy to use in terms of UI, UX. But number two, culturally, Web3, because of its origins, has always kind of been against advertising a little bit. So I think it's not a problem set that they have been focusing on. And it's not something that we are going to focus on either. There's too many things to do as a young startup, right? But advertising needs to be figured out for Web3. It's in the early days, but people have started, and we have partnered and started running experiments with other companies that are working on this. Attracting advertisers and how do you sell this advertising space, but not in the traditional banner ad way or one that ruins the user experience, but one that is, I think, more ingenious and also tokenized.